Holy cow, what did I just watch? Welcome back everyone to another one of my reviews. Today we're going to be talking about the brand new Prime Video series, The Horror of Dolores Roach. It is a horror comedy based off a popular podcast show called Empanada Loca. Now, if I know anything about Prime series, is that they are not afraid to go big, go crazy, go wild, and this show is no exception. Personally, I feel like this show deserves a lot more attention than it has. Also, just so you know, most of this review is going to be spoiler free. I will be talking a little bit about spoilers, just about the very ending of the show. So if you've already seen the show, or you just don't care about spoilers, make sure to watch till the end. The premise of the show is about a woman named Dolores who finally gets out of prison after 16 years. With no family left, she attempts to find her ex-boyfriend as her last resort. After her search comes up empty, all hope seems lost until she stumbles upon an old empanada shop that she used to go to. The owner of the shop, named Luis, remembers Dolores and offers her a place to stay, which is the basement of the empanada shop. To earn some money, Dolores starts working as a masseuse, and things are looking up for her as word spreads about her and she earns more and more clients. However, things take a turn for the worst as Luis is threatened with eviction and Dolores must go to extremes to protect her newfound stability. Alright, so the show has very similar vibes to a combination of Sweeney Todd, Santa Clarita Diet, and a little bit of Dead to Me. So if you have seen any of those other movies and TV shows, you can kind of expect to see similar themes show up in this show. So this is a flashback story, so you already know from the get-go that things are not gonna go well for the characters. There is an overarching mystery throughout the season, but each episode there's also little plot points that just make things worse and worse. So the show is marketed as a horror comedy genre. However, I feel like it's not really horror and it's not really comedy either. I would definitely say there are more comedy moments than horror, but there are definitely horrifying things that happen throughout the show. And there are moments that can be pretty graphic and gory as well. So moving on to the cast itself, Justina Machado plays Dolores, and I loved her from One Day at a Time. However, her casting as Dolores has me really conflicted. Because on one hand, she plays being distressed really well, and she also plays being nurturing really well. However, because Justina just looks so nice, and I just am familiar with her on One Day at a Time playing this nurturing, motherly character, it's really hard for me to believe that she can get herself into these situations that Dolores is in. Next is the other main character, Luis, who is played by Alejandro Hernandez. He is the perfect casting for this role, and he is arguably the best character of the show. He plays this himbo kind of character, but who is also kind of like a handyman and knows a bit of everything, and is very believable. Next is a character named Nellie, who is played by Kita Updike. She was honestly probably the funniest character in the show to me because she had a very Gen Z energy to her and the language she used is very current, so I personally found that really funny. However, even though she is probably the next most major character, she still doesn't get too much to do in the show. In fact, most of the characters don't get that much to do except for Luis and Dolores. And a couple of shoutouts to other cast members, including Cyndi Lauper of all people. I did not know she could act. Her character was this kooky private investigator type of character, and she played it really well. I didn't even know it was Cyndi Lauper. Also, Judy Reyes plays Marcie, and she is also another cast member from One Day at a Time, so it was nice to see a little reunion between the two. And another character named Joy, played by Jean Yoon, who is of course the mother in Kim's Convenience, and I also love that show. As for the show itself, I would say give it 3 episodes to warm up. The first 2 episodes are a bit slow and you're just asking yourself, where is this going? But I promise you, by the halfway point, it just picks up and it keeps going and it doesn't lose momentum at all. And it helps that the episode lengths are only 30 minutes, so even though you have to sit through maybe the beginning part that's slower, it's only an hour to get through. By episode 7 and 8, it was crazy. My jaw was on the floor. I did not expect it to go the places it did, and just how quickly things went downhill for the characters. I do have to give a warning for some of the content that is discussed in the show. There are some really disturbing moments, including gore, but also subject material, especially dealing with Louise and mental health issues. It's not really shown in detail, but they definitely talk about it. Overall, I would give the show a 7.5 out of 10. Alright, before I move on to the ending, I just wanted to remind everyone, if you enjoy my content and you like TV show and movie reviews, then maybe you should consider subscribing. And comment below what other movies and TV shows you want me to review next. Alright, so this is your official spoiler warning. The ending. It was an incredibly bold choice to basically kill off the entire cast, including Louise. And I was not expecting that, because I honestly thought it was going to be Louise and Dolores as like this Bonnie and Clyde duo going forward, and the next season is going to be them on the run. Also, Louise probably had the most violent death of all the characters who died, which, I mean, I guess he was the most evil character, so he kind of deserved it, but it was still shocking to see. And of course the question is, at the end, when Dolores shows up at somebody's house, we don't find out who she sees. My two theories are either it's Dominic or it's Georgie, who is also somehow involved with Dominic, because Georgie had screen time but nothing really panned out with her storyline, so I feel like it was Georgie at the end. My main gripe with moving on to a next season is I'm not sure how the audience will react to Dolores, because by the end of the show she kind of is unredeemable. Her only side of empathy was for Nellie, but she just killed like 9 people for seemingly no reason but anger, so it might be really hard to root for a character who is just straight up evil. But obviously there's still story about Dominic that's left unsaid, so I wouldn't be mad if they kept going with the story. That was my review on the Horror of Dolores Roach. Have you guys already seen it? And if you haven't, let me know if I managed to convince you to watch it now. And as always, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye everyone.